Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today I bring you this look right here using some new Sigma Beauty brushes. You guys know how much I love Sigma Beauty. They've got some of the best brushes that I've ever used. The quality is amazing, the durability is insane, and the price point is just, it's really good. So when they asked me to partner with them in order to bring you guys this makeup look using the new brushes, I was so excited and I was like, absolutely, count me in. This is so simple. The brushes just they do all of the work, and you're gonna see here in a second what I mean by that. Such a simple look. I figured this is something perfect for the upcoming holiday season with like any festivities that you guys have going on, or any family get-togethers, or if you're just wanting to look a little glam on the couch, you know, like sometimes I do that and that's totally fine. So whatever it is that you've got going on, this is a look to match, and I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is to recreate. So without further ado, let's zoom you guys in and get started with this look. All right, so this look is gonna be super simple, super quick, but still very glam and very holiday appropriate. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be using the Sigma Ambience palette for this look because look at her. She is gorgeous. You have the darks, you have the warm tone neutrals, you have the pops of really nice holiday shimmer, right? I mean, you have a gold over here, a rose gold. I mean, it's just, it speaks holiday to me, or at least that's how I feel about it. So this is what we're going to be using for today's eye look. Let's get started. So I'm going to start off with a detail buffer brush from Sigma Beauty. This is their E28 brush. I love it for starting off any look as it is really nice and round, super, super soft. The way that I've been doing my eye looks lately is by starting off with the deeper shades and then working my way out with lighter shades. It's just made blending out my eyeshadows so much easier. It's not as time consuming as it once was, because at one point I was doing lightest to deepest. Now I do deepest to lightest, and it really cuts down on time. So I'm taking this brush, I'm gonna dip it into Sunspot first. I want this to be a little bit of a smoked out look, but not too crazy. Just tapping off the excess, leaving me with the perfect amount on the brush. And I'm gonna start off by patting it on to the outer corner here, trying to keep it right under the crease because I am gonna be blending upward. And if I take it up too high, then it's gonna end up a little higher than what I would like. I like to keep my deeper shades closer to my lash line and then my lighter shades closer to my brow bone. So just patting this guy into place. You see how easy this is with this brush? It's like I'm barely doing anything. All I'm doing is just patting the shade on to the outer V. It's the perfect shape for the lid, as you can see right there. And that's it. If I want it a little bit deeper, I'm just gonna go back in, grab a little more, tap off the excess, and then pat over top. Super, super simple. It also helps with keeping things pretty symmetrical because it's the same shape on both sides, and you're just concentrating that on the exact same spot. And so you don't have to worry about, because that's one thing that I used to run into quite often, if I'm being completely honest, is that sometimes this like one side would be deeper than the other, or one side would be higher than the other, or it's just, you know, the struggles. But with this brush, it just makes it so much easier because of its shape. It just keeps it the same on both sides. Next, I'm going to take my diffused blend brush from Sigma. This is their E24. I love this for blending out the outer edges of a deeper shade. It's just nice and small, and it gets really precise, but it's not too small to where it's not going to blend out anything. It's not too big to where it's going to spread the eyeshadow all over the eye. It's small enough, precise enough, and soft enough to really just blend along the outer edges of the deeper shade that I placed. So I'm gonna grab Oasis with this brush, just taking a little bit of that, like that, patting off the excess, and that is what I'm going to use along the edges. Now I start off by just patting it onto the lid like that, just to start blending everything together. And I combine both in a very, very light circular motion. So I'm not applying a ton of pressure on this. It's soft enough to where you don't need to apply a lot of pressure for it to blend. You just really need to be light-handed with it, and it's going to do the entire work for you. So just lightly blending in like circular windshield wiping motions and blending up toward the crease, going a little bit above the crease and up toward the brow bone. And the closer I get to my brow bone, the less pressure that's on the brush. So I kind of just, you can see my skin's like barely moving because I'm just applying very, very, very minimal pressure. I'm barely gliding the brush back and forth, and it creates like a nice gradient. All right, next I'm gonna use my fingers for the shimmers. I love using my fingers for the shimmers. As you guys know, I just find that they pop a lot more. They just look so much better when you apply them with the fingers. So I'm taking Midas, which is this beautiful gold, more of a rosy gold, I suppose, if you compare it to this one here, which is sunflower. This is more yellow. Looks like this. And I'm going to place it here along the center and then kind of blend it out toward the outer V. So I'm going to start off by just pressing it here along the center of the mobile lid, dragging it all the way up to my crease, and then just overlapping this with the outer V shade a little bit. Next, I'm going to take Firefly, which looks like this. And I'm going to apply this right here, overlapping the gold that I placed along the center and dragging this a little bit further down toward the inner corner of my eye. And I'm going to finish it off with Luster. Looks like that. Absolutely beautiful. And just placing it here along the inner corner. So I've got 3 shades. You don't have to do 3. I just like them all and I could not decide which one to do. So I just grabbed a little bit of everything. So now I'm going to go back with my detail buffer brush. This was the rounded one that we used to begin the look. And I'm grabbing Sunspot once again in order to deepen and just blend out that outer V. Got lost a little bit with the shimmers. So I just want to bring it back, and I'm just barely tapping. So just tapping in between. You can drag the eye brush back and forth as well. It's super soft, so it should not be an issue at all. All right, and then I'm gonna go back with my diffused blend brush, the one that we used along the crease. I'm grabbing Oasis once again, tapping it off, and using it to blend here along the top. So just very, very lightly gliding this back and forth. And let's say you grabbed a little too much, right? These brushes are so easy to clean with the Sigma switch. I've been using this thing nonstop. I hate washing brushes, and so I'd rather just use the same 2 or 3 for an eye look instead of like 5 or 6, you know, when I'm switching shades. If I'm going from like a lighter shade to a deeper shade or a deeper shade to a lighter shade and I don't want it to mix, you just take your brush and you're just gonna swirl it back and forth. And this is gonna take most of the eyeshadow out of your brush. So it's still dirty, I'm still gonna need to wash it, but I don't have to worry about mixing, you know, a deeper shade with a lighter shade if I don't want to. This way I can definitely keep the eyeshadows separate so that they're not going to where I don't need them to go. For instance, I clean this off so that I'm not adding any additional product along here. I'm just looking to blend out the shimmer and nothing more. And one thing that I've been doing is I've been adding eyeliner along the bottom of the lower lash line. And I'll show you how. I'm using my liquid pen eyeliner from Sigma Beauty. Looks like this. So what I do is I take the eyeliner and then just pat underneath the lashes. And what this does, it just gives the illusion of a thicker lash line. I don't know if you guys can see the difference. I used to do this with an eyeliner, but what I found is that it would just smudge along the bottom of the eye and I hated it. So I started using a liquid eyeliner and it stays in place. It does the same thing, but it doesn't transfer to the lower lash line. So to finish off the eyes, a little bit of mascara. This is Sigma's Sinuosity Lash Mascara. I'm just gonna apply a couple of coats of this. I love this mascara wand. It is super, super stiff. So it separates all of your lashes. And the formula is really, really nice. It adds length, volume. I mean, clearly. All right, so we're not quite done with the eyes yet, but let's move on to the face for a little bit. So I'm just gonna be color correcting, applying some concealer, foundation, and then we can move on with the rest of this look. So foundation is done, concealer is done. Let's continue on with the eyes. So I'm going back with the smaller of the two that I used along the lid. This is the diffused blend brush, the E24. I'm going to be grabbing Oasis, a little bit of Oasis, which is what we used along the crease, and a tiny bit of Sunspot. It's gonna look like this. It's gonna be mixed, so it's gonna be super easy to blend along the lower lash line. Whenever I'm going for a glam look, I have to apply something along the lower lash line. Otherwise, I feel like the look is just not complete. So we're gonna take the tip of this really soft brush and just run it back and forth. And you see how easy it is? All of the eyeshadows just blend right in. All right, and now I'm gonna take a tiny pencil brush. This is the Sigma E30. I'm going to grab Luster, which is the shade that we used here along the inner corner. And I'm just gonna pat that onto the lower inner corner. So not the inner corner completely, just the lower part. So like the lower lash line inner corner. And of course, finish off the eyes with a little bit of mascara. Next, I'm going to take my Chiseled Cheek F76 brush from Sigma Beauty. I really love it because it's soft, round, perfect for that contour bronzy look, which is how we're going to be using it today. I'm grabbing my Sigma Sculpt Highlight and Contour Palette. I'm taking the shade Faking It, just grabbing a little bit of that with my brush, tapping off the excess, and this is what I'm going to use here along the hollows of my cheeks. It's very, very subtle, and the softness of the brush really helps blend things out so that you're not stuck with just like a line or something that just doesn't look blended into the skin. I've done that before plenty of times, especially when I was first starting to contour or add bronzer. It just, it was not a good look. Because I wasn't using the right tools. And so I would end up with like a very heavy, like muddy looking contour or muddy looking bronzer. However, with this brush, it makes the entire process super simple as it blends out as you're applying it. You just have to apply it and it just takes care of it all on its own. I love it. Next, I'm taking my Powder Sculpt brush. This is the F44, which I have been loving for blush application. It is just the perfect shape, the perfect softness. You just apply it onto the cheeks and literally just glide it back like this, and you're good to go. You're absolutely done. So I'm using my Sigma Corda Rosa palette for this. I'm gonna take the shade Señorita, which I love. I absolutely love this shade. So taking a little bit of that blush, tapping it off, and then just sweeping this back. Did you see that? It was so fast, you missed it, right? Look at how subtle and how easy this is. I really love how soft these are because it really makes the whole process a lot easier. Look at that. And I'm done with blush. I'll show you again on this side. You see that? It was super easy. Because they are so soft, it makes it pretty hard to overdo it and pretty hard to not be able to blend it out. You know what I mean? It's just, I love that brush. So now I'm gonna set my forehead. I do tend to get a little oily there. And so most of the time I am applying a little bit of a loose setting powder just to keep things to a minimum as far as the shine. And for that, I'm gonna be using my powder and bronzer brush. This is the F28. It's super soft, super big. And so you just, a little bit of this, a little bit right here, right here, and you're good to go. I do tend to get pretty oily along the T-zone, so that is what I'm going to be doing today, just like right here and a little bit on the chin. So just sweeping a little bit of setting powder here, right here, right here, and right here. I also like to use this in order to go back and just kind of blend everything together. Like everything's already blended, but I don't want anything to look like it doesn't go with one another, like they're not doing this, you know? I want everything to look like this instead of one thing here, one thing here, one thing here. So like contour, bronzer, blush, all to blend into one another. And then I'm taking my all-purpose buffer brush. This is the E61. I'm grabbing my Sigma Glow Kissed palette, which looks like this. Oh, I'm taking the shade Flare with my brush, which is this beautiful like champagne gold. Just grabbing a little bit of that. And this I will be placing here along the brow bone, like that. This brush is perfect for like small areas and large areas. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's like the right size for just about anywhere along the face. I love using it here along the brow bone. I also take it here along the tops of my cheeks. It gives me better control of where my highlighter is going on the face, but it's still big enough to where it doesn't take forever. Just applying it kind of all over. This highlighter is really, really subtle. I'm also going to put a little bit of this here along the Cupid's bow. All right, so there is the final look. All I have to do is fill in the lips. Now for this look, I think you can go with anything. Like you can go with something very traditional, like a classic red for the holiday season. You can do something nude, something more neutral that, you know, it goes with anything. Or you can do something really bold, very dark, kind of like something that, you know, something like this. That would look good too, like a really deep plum or a really deep red. What am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna choose bold. I'm gonna choose bold for this look. So this is the final look. What do we think? I think the bold lip really like helped tie it all together. I really, really love the way that this turned out. Like I said, super easy to recreate. Didn't take a whole lot of time, didn't take a whole lot of effort. I really love the way that it turned out, and I hope you guys did as well. That completes it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this makeup tutorial and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. And also don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you guys. I really do. I say it all the time, but I really mean it. I love hanging out with you guys over there. Sometimes I'll ask you guys questions. I try to interact as much as I can. So yeah, make sure you follow me over there. Make sure you subscribe here, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.